Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! I am real excited to be here with Martin J. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. Martin is the one who introduced me to Twinkly Lights, and was that's actually how I met Martin, was through his Twinkly Lights video. And I started doing some Twinkly Lights myself and shared some ideas with Martin, and here we are. So this year I'm going to be continuing my project over here. This is just a little setup I've been building for mounting to the house a little more easily, and there'll be future videos on that. So let's go ahead and get started. Martin, it's great to be with you here. This is, I guess, kind of going to be like a little bit of a podcast, I guess, just a little discussion.
Yeah, that's. I'm looking forward to it.
I've been playing Fallout 76 with Martin for a couple months, and but Twinkly Lights, I saw, you get the RGB display, and it's a lot easier, a lot of customization, but still easy to set up. So I was real impressed with Martin's Twinkly Light videos, and I went out and I got probably more Twinkly Lights than I should have.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. I've also been looking at videos about people who are making their own homemade LED light shows and some of those very big, elaborate computer control shows, and it looks like something that could be fun to make, but I also do not have the time. There's just not enough hours in the day to do that. So what can we do if we don't have the time to do all of that? Well, that's also why I started buying these lights. So I would like you to start, I think, because I'm actually more interested in hearing what we have been doing, because I can see you have been busy.
Sure. Well, first, when you had the trouble with putting Twinkly Lights, the version 1 specifically, you said it was just your phone that was the issue, though? Did you just have to reinstall?
Yeah, I installed it from the ground up again, just removed it from my phone and all the accompanying data, installed it again, and it were 10 times faster and more stable. It was like getting a completely new system. I was very...
When you said you were having issues, I was real concerned when I was going to bring mine out. Because, with a product like this, I think it just comes with a 1-year warranty. And honestly, that's just a 1 holiday warranty, really.
Yeah, because some of the wires, if we've got to be honest, they're a bit thin and flimsy. And I was also concerned about corrosion and water getting into the LEDs, and I have had cheap LED lights with the same look as these have in the build, and those sometimes only lasted one Christmas, and there's a bit snow and rain and whatever, and next year they were corroded and wouldn't work. But I haven't had any failures yet. And how many years I've been running it? 4 years, certainly, from the old one. 3 or 4 years, and they've still been working, all of them.
Last year was my first experience with Twinkly Lights, and getting it set up initially, it was definitely quirky, to say the least. Every single one of them, of course, needed a firmware update, and of course half of them during the firmware update, stuff just stops working, and I'm afraid I was afraid I was going to brick a couple of my lights just during the firmware updates. But, once firmware updates are done, and once you get a nice, strong connection, and that's the other thing, too, you got to make sure you've got really strong Wi-Fi making it outside. So if you've got a cinder block home, it gets hard to get that strong Wi-Fi signal out there in front of your house.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, because I also experienced, now you're mentioning that firmware upgrades failed. Sometimes I had to do it 10 times before it got through, and I think one of those problems were actually because of my poor Wi-Fi coverage. And my house is concrete and brick, and even though in real, as a crow flies, it's just 6 or 7 meters out to my carport, and the Wi-Fi should be covered by that. But if you take a look in a direct line, how many walls do I have to go through to get out to my garage, my carport, or my workshop? It's like, even though it's only a few meters, it's 5 walls it has to go through, and that's just not going to work. So that's something you have to consider when you install the lights. And do we have enough proper Wi-Fi coverage where they're going to be installed?
And I'd just like to add, 4 or 5 years ago when Twinkly first came out, these kinds of apps weren't really readily available, but there are apps available now for any viewers. And if I remember, we'll put some links. There's apps now where you can test your Wi-Fi signal, and it'll have you stand here, you test it, it figures out the strength, and you move somewhere else in your house, and it gives you a real good picture of the quality of your Wi-Fi, and for something like Twinkly, that's real useful.
It absolutely is, so you get an idea how well is it working.
Well, it takes a little work, especially if you've got a big space, but it's definitely worth it. You can figure out where all those cold spots are.
It is understated a bit when people look at these products that you need to have proper Wi-Fi coverage. It's not often something people think about. So
that's what I was going to add too. This is, although I said, it's kind of a product that's easier than those huge, you got to program RGB displays. This does still require a little TLC to get set up.
Yeah, it definitely. And I have colleagues at work who have been buying this, and I think the Wi-Fi, that's a must. That is simply what people have experienced most of the times I've talked to people who had problems with them. So, and a bonus tip, but the app says that now. I don't know if it's a reflections when you are scanning the Twinkly lights first in mirrors and walls and
windows,
reflecting surfaces. That can be a bit of a problem sometimes when you have to map in all the lights, but that is doable, fixable.
Yeah, let me go ahead and get up. And so, and that's absolutely this one here. With this I would put in the window, and I'll show you. So they're actually for these 2 windows here. I had a real hard time with these, trying to get them mapped just because they were in the window. And the other problem I have is simply because the spacing here is so close. It was such a wide display that it just couldn't map at all. I really wanted to take the time to get the spacing and just really make it look as good as I really could. So what I did is I bought a bunch of PVC pipe, and these are different sizes, and like I said, I'll do a separate video showing exactly what I did, but just a quick overview. So I just got different size PVC pipes, measured it all out, got some special hooks for the roof line, and these lights here are the ones that I use for the roof line. And it's about a 6 foot to 8 foot piece, and I just mount it up, go on to the next one, mount it up, next one, mount it up. So after I've done this, it takes 10 minutes to mount it, but getting it to this point, it took days and days. It took a lot of time to get this stuff set up, but this year, this portion that I've already completed, it'll go up in no time at all.
Yeah, that's the preparation you did now. It's going to save your time this year and next year as well, also. So it's not all lost work so far. And I had these small metal hooks on my house, so I can also easily install them every year now. And I think actually, for the first few years, I did a lot of things with cable ties and and all kinds of things, and it was a royal mess to get it up and get it installed. And so I realized I'm going to do this every year. I might as well do a bit of preparation. So definitely think ahead and say, what can I do that takes a bit more time now, but saves me some time in the long run, you know, that makes it better.
Yeah, that's my philosophy for Christmas lights as well. Because, I mean, that way you're always building onto it as opposed to just struggling to get the same stuff up every year, you know?
Yeah, we need to see that video of you completing the project. I think well, I'm going to hold you to that to get that done. Yeah, most of my installation will be the same, but one of the strands I will mount, of the chains, what we call it, I will mount underneath my wall twinkly light than I did in my last video, so that I get a bigger surface with LED lights. So I would like to try that this year to see if that would work. So since those both are revision 1 of the twinkly lights, they might work together, and then I have the newer one as icicles along the front of the house, so I'll keep that as a separate chain with a separate animation, and then I'll try to join the two together, the other ones into one animation. If only I could get a bit more resolution, a bit more. So I have in my carport, as we've seen, at my car, and I have the door into my workshop. So the wall lights a bit in the way, but I can just go through them. And if I'm going to install the others, it will be hard to get through the door. But so I'll have to find a workaround for that, something temporary, so I can perhaps move them out of the way and get through the door. Anyway, so I'll have to take a look at that, how I'm going to do that. But that's definitely something I'm going to try out. So that is my plan so far. So see if I can get some of the fancy features to look cool. So also to make something a bit different this time around.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hold you to that because I'm anxious to see how that comes out.
You just do that, and I'll sure to make a video about it. And one of the things that have been tough, last year was the first time I used my new Panasonic GS5S camera, which if you are a camera nerd, there's probably already a new one out or whatever, but that takes a bit more tinkering to get it to work right, but it has so good low light sensitivity that I think I can make it look even more awesome, like my video last year. But that's part of the fun, I suppose, making the videos. It's getting the gear to work. That's always the issue, I think.
So this year, how many? I know you've got a couple strands. You got the icicles. What else twinkly do you have? Are you planning on getting any more this year?
So yes, I have 3 twinkly lights, 2 generation 1 and a generation 2, I think. And then of course I have all these regular LEDs that are single color. I do have some in multiple colors, but they're not animated. They're just simple chains that aren't have any fancy features, except that they're sort of like a prosumer professional products, and they have these really thick wires that's really durable, and they have like a system where you can couple them together and split them out, so you don't have to run wires except for the chains out to where you want to get them. So I'll continue to use those, and so no new major purchases so far, but now you kind of got me interested in go browsing a bit again.
I still got so many lights from last year. So I'm not going to be getting any more this year. But next year, you know, depending on how this year goes, I very well may get some more twinkly. Maybe Twinkly 3.0 will be available by then. Perhaps.
I know they have a professional products as well.
I did see that too. And I remember vaguely last year, I think it works with X lights. So the Pro version, you know, you can still use the Twinkly product and do it a little more easily, but you can also program each individual light using X lights. So,
but it's probably more expensive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think I did look into it. I think it was about, 50 to 100% more than the consumer level.
Okay.
The home version.
I think I'd rather want a new graphics card than a new computer. If it comes to that. Yeah.
I think we've got a lot of work to to look forward to this year.
And now committed ourselves, both of us, to make a new video.
I'm real interested to see what you come up with your setup. I know every year your setup changes, so I'm interested to see what you put together this year.
Likewise.
All right. Well, you know, if you've got any questions,
feel free to ask them down below in the comments. I'm not just saying that as some big YouTubers do. We actually have time to answer questions.
do put them down there. You know, even if it's not a question, you just want to say hi.